A marine base in California is leading a push toward energy conservation and self-reliance. The changes have been underway ever since a series of blackouts struck the state 14 years ago. This week's big power outage in Detroit is another reminder that the country's energy infrastructure is vulnerable. Here's CCTV's Yakenda McGahee.
Large parts of Detroit, Michigan were in the dark on Tuesday following a massive power outage after a cable and circuit breaker apparently failed. It led to rolling blackouts throughout the city. Hospitals, schoolrooms, and courthouses lost power.
I was just leaving court, jumped on an elevator, and all of a sudden it just shook and stopped. And then the power went out.
The U.S. military, which relies on power generated by utilities, has become increasingly concerned about the vulnerability of electrical grids to hackers, terrorists, and natural disasters. The worries only increased after assailants last year attacked a Silicon Valley electrical substation in California, disabling a dozen transformers. One base hopes to soon operate independent of the commercial grid. 29 Palms Marine Corps Base in California's Mojave Desert.
The base is on the grid, but if the grid does fail, we can actually bring those power sources online and power the base.
The California energy crisis in 2000 was the jolt this base needed to power change.
There was a big movement in order to conserve energy. One of our first projects, we put in a 7.2 megawatt cogeneration facility. So at that point, we generate about 50 to 60% of our own electricity. And that was basically the start of where our energy reduction began.
But it didn't end there. 25,000 solar panels now dot this desert landscape. And just about everywhere you look, and just about everywhere you go on the main side of this military base, you'll find some sort of alternative or renewable energy sources. Take, for instance, this jogging path. It's lined with 2.4 kilometers of solar street lights. There's 500 base wide. They store the sun's energy by day and light the walkways by night. The base is also reducing waste by reclaiming and reusing water, curtailing consumption by installing motion lights, and not only generating 16.2 megawatts of power, but also collecting and storing it to heat and cool its facilities.
So we put in large chilled water plants, which are about 30% more efficient than those air-cooled units. Cogeneration also saves energy by collecting the waste heat off of the generation side, and instead of us having to run boilers in order to supply heat.
Officials at 29 Palms say the upgrades save $11 million a year. But more important than the financial benefits, they say, is the security that energy independence brings. Yakenda McGahee, CCTV, Mojave Desert, California.